Creating solutions and changing lives means a whole lot, and it certainly, I think, embodies and speaks well for our mission at Easter Seals. Something that many people are not aware of is the size of the organization. Don, when we started together, and you were there before I was, we were an organization of 35 or 40 or 50 people. Mm-hmm. Now we have over 400 employees providing services on 6 islands. Pretty incredible. We have 22 or 23 different programs, and again, we do our early intervention services, we do our youth programs, we do young adult programs, and yet we got a future of new opportunities coming up. Supported work environment. Cody's working at Safeway, right? Manoa.
Tell everybody tell everybody come. No.
That's one of the things is even though we're very proud of what we do on a daily basis, and last year, if you can grasp this number, last year our employees delivered over 400,000 hours of direct service to people in the community statewide. Pretty impressive. Hardworking people.
One of my favorite places to visit is the adult programs out at EVA, where you have taken some of these old plantation homes out there and converted them to service centers, and they just had the haunted house recently out there. Yep. Did you guys go?
No.
No? You afraid?
Too scared.
No,
Too scared?
and this women.
Just about anywhere you go on the island of Oahu now, there is an Easter Seal facility of some kind. On the windward side, in town, Hilo side, Big Island, all over.
Thank you. That's a nice little segue, because fundraising is part of our heritage. We don't get enough funds from our state and federal contracts to support all of our programs, and fundraising is something that we, like other nonprofits, seem to be doing all the time. And yet, if you want to have quality programs, if you want to make as much of an impact on the community as you possibly can, we need those dollars to pay salaries, to support our employees, to create opportunities. And boy, we had a great run with Taste of Honolulu for 14 or 15 years. You guys were always involved in that. We always get our participants involved in what we do. They're front and center in every type of activity we have. We still do the haunted house a couple of weekends ago, our golf tournament. Taste of Honolulu has changed into something a little bit different called Chef du Jour. But coming up, we got our Gingerbread Festival, which is now our large public family-oriented event. Wait, can you talk just a little bit about a Gingerbread Festival?
Well, Gingerbread Festival, I think, was the brainchild of Alan Wong, who was a board member and really put his talents where his mouth was. I mean, he took his talents as a brilliant chef and created the idea of this Gingerbread Festival. You guys have been there, right?
Yeah.
It's great fun.
That's why you call candy, because you can just shove it in the stomach and go home.
Yeah. But that's the next one on the horizon, but that's a great one.
It is, and I think it speaks so well of Easter Seals because it's just good, clean family fun.
Yeah, and a good example of a board member really getting involved, taking his special talents and converting them into something that helps support the programs.
Yeah. Continuing along the line of money, is we've grown from an organization that had a kind of a modest budget 15 years ago of about $1.5 million to where our operating budget now is around 15 or 16 million. And yet, even though we've had some very, very good years with incredible growth in our programs and services, as I take a look, even in tough economic times now, I can tell you that our best years are ahead of us. We've got so many things, exciting things that we're looking at in terms of new programs and new services that we will be delivering and rolling out over the next couple of years. One of the biggest things that's on our radar screen, and it's kind of an unfortunate thing, but yet I feel good that Easter Seals is there to help out, and that's autism.
Autism has been now, I think, diagnosed as maybe the major health problem with youngsters in this country. It's widespread. Easter Seals nationally has taken this on as a very high priority. We're going to get more and more into that here in the islands. And if you've known a family with an autistic child, you know the devastating impact that can have on a family. So for Easter Seals to get involved, it seems the natural and appropriate thing to do.
Well, the good thing is that we have a national organization behind us. Easter Seals is an affiliate. We're our own legal entity here in Hawaii, but we're part of a great organization that has 80 Easter Seals across the country. And we can borrow on that knowledge, that experience, and the things that they are doing, best practices, and bring that back to Hawaii so we're not having to reinvent the wheel. And we've sent a number of our staff to the mainland in recent years to learn what we can do programmatically to start bolstering our services for not only children, but also adults with autism. So we're moving in that direction.
Well, let me
boldly.
ask you specifically what you have in mind, John. You're a visionary. You're always a couple of steps ahead of things here. What do you see Easter Seals doing?
Well, let me tell you, first of all, we're not experts. I think we're bold enough to know that there's still a lot we have to learn. But we started something fairly unique 2 years ago with the help from a group up at the University of Hawaii. We did a camp, and it was a camp for families, not just children or adults, but it was mom and dad and siblings up at Camp Erdman up on the North Shore. And we had, I think it was 12 or 13 families in that first group, and we went through a number of different exercises that had already been tried in other locations on the mainland. But we learned some things out of that session with those families about autism that wasn't on anybody's charts before. What we saw was unconventional. Autism is something where typically the individual is a little bit remote, a little bit distant, a little bit isolated. And yet what we saw were children with autism cooperating, participating in group activities, and all of a sudden the pens got out and the experts started taking notes, and it's like, well, maybe we're onto something here. And a lot of it has to do with us trying to find the right environment and the right staff to work with these individuals and get the most opportunity out of them. And what I've learned in the 15 years, because I came from the business side, I came from the for-profit sector, as you know, and I think the biggest thing that I personally have learned and benefited from in my 15 years is that these great young adults here, not children, young adults, and the other participants that we serve is the more opportunities we create for them, the more challenges that we place for them, it enhances and enriches their lives. So our job is just to do more work, create more opportunities, create more solutions.
And this is a partnership, and you and I have had many discussions about this over the years, the fact that Easter Seals is not a babysitting service or anything of that sort. To me, one of the best examples of how an Easter Seal family has prospered by having the services is with Brian Kajiyama. I think everybody knows or should know by now who Brian Kajiyama is, and Brian is a true success story. I understand he recently got his driver's license. Now here's a young man working on his PhD at the University of Hawaii who communicates through a computer now. Thank God they've invented that so that he's able to actually talk back and carry on conversations. But Brian is just a perfect example. Came in as a baby to Easter Seals. He was just a little guy. I remember him when he came in. He was a poster child for Easter Seals as a young man. But along the way, Brian developed and went on into the mainstream. And one reason he did is that his parents took a very active role in his development. And that's part of that partnership I'm talking about.
Right. You hit every talking point I could have imagined, Don, right on. Easter Seals is all about working with the families to improve lives, because when there's a challenge or disability in the family, it affects everybody in the family. And our whole thing is to create an environment where everybody learns, benefits, and addresses those opportunities in a most positive way. And Brian is one of my favorites. But I mean, you take a young man with cerebral palsy. He's in you talk about assistive technology and things that can benefit an individual. He's in a motorized chair. He now has a service dog who can help him open even other doors, euphemistically, as he says. But God, an individual with such a great sense of humor, such a positive outlook, with so many challenges, and yet he's working on his doctorate degree so he can be a teacher and help other people. It's powerful. And
he became an assistant coach for the UH football team a year ago when they went to the Sugar Bowl, and is now an academic advisor to the football team. Yeah.
And have you seen that bling he wears, that ring he got from the Sugar Bowl?
Yeah.
He's proud of that piece of jewelry.
And he should be.
Yeah, and he was a genuine part of the team. Well, our time is running out, and this has been great. You guys have a good time?
Yeah.
So you want to do it again?
Yeah.
You think you can get a job in TV?
Yeah.
I know you can, because you guys are pros.
Next time, bring some sandwiches, okay?
Do you think you can get a big hot dog with a sandwich in it?
Probably.
Thank you all for joining us, and let me thank the audience for allowing us to share a little bit of information about Easter Seals. We're a healthy, strong organization. The money that we raise here stays in the state of Hawaii. We're proud of the services we provide, and yet there's so much more we can do, and we continually need the support of the community to provide these services for these young adults and the other people and the services that we'll be rolling out and delivering in the future. But thank you so much for your support, because it means giving us the opportunity to do more for our community here in Hawaii. Aloha, and thank you for joining us today.